Of the Town of Pelletier Board of Commissioners, 6:30, Monday, September the 18th, 2023. Roll call.
Walter Vincent.
Here.
Jan Taylor.
Here.
Dale Sowers.
Here.
Sonny Mason.
Here.
David Bragg.
Yes, ma'am.
Tim Quinn.
Here. All right, let's all stand for the pledge and invocation, please. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, as we come to you tonight, we come asking you to be with each of us, lead, guide, and direct in decisions that are made. Let us make the decisions that are best for Pelletier, and bless each and every one that is here tonight and their interest in helping this town. Be with all of us. Thank you so much for the beautiful day that you have given. All this we ask in your precious and loving name.
Amen.
All right, next on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. If there's no changes, do I hear a motion to approve the agenda as written?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Huh? Okay. All right, approval of the minutes of the August 7th, 2023 meeting. Is there no changes to that? Do I hear a motion to approve as written?
Motion to approve.
As written.
Second.
All right. All right, department's report. Code Enforcement Officer, Lieutenant Chris Jensen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thanks, sir.
Here you go, sir.
Good evening, gentlemen. So I switched up the report a little bit. I wanted to head on what's been going on with kind of our new way of doing things. This is I'm going to talk mostly about the hunt for somebody to do our mitigating for us. A company that is reputable enough to go ahead and do some of these cleanups that we've started talking about with the below mentioned addresses. I went through 4 companies myself. The problem with the companies that I dealt with is they don't have the means to get the job done. They're not all-encompassing, ready to go on these projects, except for one. And Commissioner Quinn found this gentleman. It was the same gentleman that did his adjacent properties that Barefoot owned. He came out and met with me last week, about a week and a half ago, and we drove the neighborhood of Pettiford Road. I showed him addresses of people that were in penalty, and we got to talking, and I said, yeah, go ahead and just work up an estimate of costs so I can present it to the board at the next meeting. And he did. So for 103 Deaton, 104 Lee Court, 109 Pettiford Road, 309 White House Forks Road were the first ones that we wanted to touch upon. The numbers are as follows. $1,400 for Deaton Drive to clean that one up. Lee Court was $950. 119 Pettiford Drive, $1,200. And that was probably mostly because of the unknowns that lie underneath that overgrowth in the backyard. We're not sure how much heavy junk there is back there. And then, of course, 319 White House Forks Road, which is the home that has not probably been looked at in about 3 years. And it looks like that nature's taking back the house at present. So grand total is $4,250 for all four. Okay. The man, Mr. Hardesty, is new to our area as a 5-year resident of Swansboro. He comes from Ohio, where he ran the same type of business up there. He does mostly lot clearing and the like. He has the big machines that would get the job done, and he's got a crew of capable workers that will come and pick up these aforementioned items and get the properties to compliance, basically. Okay. Then I just went on with the rest of it. I get verbose when I write, I apologize. 413-835 White House Forks Road. 835 is kind of a new one to my little list here. This one is way past the Millis Road on White House Forks Road, going towards the very end. It's on the left-hand side if you're going down White House Forks Road. Kind of a junky yard in the front and the like. And they got pointed out to me by one of the old town commissioners. And then 413 Petterford Road, if you drive down Petterford Road, there's no mistaking it, this is another property that's getting reclaimed by nature. And noxious weeds are super, super high. And I took this man to that property as well, just to give him an idea of what we're looking at, what we're probably trying to strive for in the town, basically just gaining compliance, not a beautification process, just gaining compliance. That's why I wanted him to price off of. Because he started talking about removing trees and getting this done and getting that done. And I said, no, that's not the town's job. The town's job is just to bring it into compliance. So that's where that comes in. Properties that are going to be on the radar this month are going to be 305 5 Aprils Drive, 209 Mills Branch Court, and I've listed reasons in there for that one. 124 Petterford Road, and then of course the always and ever present 1106/1105, still not sure of the address, Highway 58, which is our warehouse. There used to be a restaurant, there used to be a town hall. Okay, moving on to the sheriff's side of things. I'll take questions after that. Let's see here. We had 109 calls for service within the town. 86 were for Pelletier, 23 were for the ETJ, the adjoining area. And I have included the call list on the back, as you can see all the little calls that came through. And I just got word, in case any of you are following this, that Blake Perkins was arrested off Collins Rue Road. He's a 31-year-old white male. He's been accused of second-degree murder and death by distribution. And he was charged under the aforementioned death of 35-year-old Joshua Adams. Mr. Perkins is currently being held at our jail with no bond, and his first appearance will be a felony appearance tomorrow morning. I think I touched on everything that I had in my packet. Questions? Sir?
Richard, what's that address? 413 across from you?
413, right?
Yes.
In the list, yeah.
What about 413?
It's in here.
He's been notified, he's been posted,
Thought it was.
so he'll be coming up.
Okay.
Yeah, 413 is one of the aforementioned that's being reclaimed by nature.
Yeah.
So I've got two of those, White House Forks Road and that one are the two that really need to be tended to in the next few months. Any other questions, guys? We good? Okay. Then I'll be around after the meeting. If you come up with something, let me know.
All right, thank you,
Thank
Chris.
you. Thank you.
All right, next is West Carter Fire and EMS report. Chief Kevin Hunter.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and commissioners and public. Western Carteret, for the month of August, we responded to 167 calls throughout the district. In Pelletier, we responded to 17 EMS calls, 1 fire-related call, 1 motor vehicle crash or rescue, and then 4 other. When we say other, those calls are generally not necessarily coded. They could be false alarms or false calls, dispatched, canceled en route, public service, etc. Each month when I send in the report, we have the comparison to last year. I always try to keep you updated on that. Last year, we responded to 2,051 calls throughout the district. This year, we're at the end of August, we were at 1,274. And as of this point in September, we're right on par to be somewhere between 1,950 and 2,000 calls. Now, I want to point out that it looks like we're going to be a little bit lower in call volume this year, but if you will recall, I reported to the board that I sent a letter to Onslow County last year because of the number of calls that we were responding to in Onslow County were abnormally high. Those have been cut dramatically, so we expected to be nearly 100 calls below last year and the year before, and we're actually, even without the Onslow County calls, just in Carteret County, we're actually going to be right on par to be around maybe 50 calls below. Only 14% of our calls for the month of August were mutual aid or automatic aid to our neighboring communities. That doesn't include EMS standbys for Onslow, and we only did 1 of those for the month. And we were only called to Onslow for an actual EMS call, mutual aid, 1 time for the month of August. That is my report. Then I have the fire marshal's report, who works out of our office. He has been very busy trying to get us ahead and getting caught up. For the month of August in Pelletier, he had 2 inspections. Total inspections for the month was 53. That brings his total of inspections to 266. No smoke detectors were installed or checked in Pelletier during the month, but he's had a total of 16 for the year. One plan review and 1 review for new construction, and 1 of them are renovation. And he's done a total of 33 of those for the year. 2 Knox box installations, total number of Knox box information sheets provided 6, and the total number of Knox box contents was updated 3 for the month, and then 11 for the entire month, so 67 for the entire year. Fire prevention, there was very little fire prevention activity during the month of during the month of August, I'm sorry. This month and in October is when our fire prevention will ramp up, and we'll have several. That'll probably, the number of kids and what have you will probably be near 1,000 for the month of October and September and November probably. And that is, let's see, there's one more part to that, I believe. There is. Total number of complaints or concerns, 2. Complaints can be anything from complaints about burning, illegal burning and what have you and things like that, but he had a total number of 2, 14 for the year that he's dealt with. He's done fire alarm systems and sprinkler systems, hood systems, none for the month of August, but a total of 14 for the year. And then training hours, 161 for the year, 6 during the month. Miscellaneous meetings, that includes these meetings, planning board meetings and what have you, 3. And then North Carolina Fire Code research hours, 8 during the month of August. For a total of, for the year, he's done 161. He stays very busy. He's doing all the inspections for all 4 towns, within all 4 towns. That saves your town money. You don't have to pay someone to be your fire inspector. You don't have to pay the county to be your fire inspector. And if you remember, the reason, besides the fact that we are the fire department, the reason we do fire inspections is because of the cost to the towns that the county was wanting to charge. If there are any questions, I'd be glad to answer them at this time. If there's no questions, I do have to address one thing that came to my attention, and I have to bring it up. I'd rather not, but it's one of those things. Basically, we have had some posts on social media, and this is a quote by a gentleman in the community, and I will use his name because he posts his name with his quote. His name is Mr. Kevin Jones, and this was done in June-July timeframe, 2023. And in his quote, it says, he talks about Pelletier is quickly growing, absolutely true. We need to be able to support that growth through infrastructure and community services, true. Then it says this includes first responders. And it says Western Carteret Fire and EMS Department covers Cedar Point, Cape Carteret, Pelletier, Stella, Bogue, and portions of Swansboro and Maysville. Our residents deserve a dedicated department that is focused on our community. His second quote from July to August 2023 says, and I'm going to read the whole quote, Pelletier needs a well-balanced budget. Obviously true. In order to provide the services our residents need, sorry, my eyes are getting bad, emergency services. And then it goes on, and then further down it says, but we don't want to put a strain on anyone's household budget. Our town is growing, again true, and while that will bring us more revenue, it will also mean more expenses. We need to ensure our town has a healthy reserve to support the community in times of crisis. Right now, Pelletier has one of the lowest tax rates in Carteret County, equal or less than South River, Sea Level, Otway, Beaufort. Coincidentally, these towns have something we don't, fire and EMS department. And that's a quote from his post. Now I want to say this, deception with the intent to affect people's perception. Deception is the act of causing someone to accept as true or valid that which is false or invalid. Perception, on the other hand, is a belief or opinion often held by people and based on how things seem. Perception is the reality of the uninformed or uneducated, deceiving people, either not being honest or even leaving out pertinent truths with the intent to affect their perception is employed to get people to accept someone or a group's preferred or so-called reality. Citizens will make choices regarding their representation and the decisions that representation must make. My concern, my only concern, and my focus is obviously fire protection and emergency medical services. To inform and educate, to ensure our citizens know about their fire and EMS department and can have any and every question answered honestly and in a timely manner. It is apparent that Mr. Jones has been deeply misdirected, misinformed, or other. Mr. Jones's quote from social media, which has his name attached to it, states, Pelletier is quickly growing and we need to be able to support that growth through infrastructure and community services, again, including first responders. So I'm going to address each of those statements directly. First of all, as the Chief of Department at Western Carteret Fire and EMS, to my knowledge, Mr. Jones has never come to our department, our agency, the office, or called my office to speak with me, ask questions, or to research at all the fire and rescue and emergency medical services Western Carteret provides. He's also obviously not contacted the Carteret County Fire Marshal, North Carolina Office of State Fire Marshal, North Carolina League of Municipalities, North Carolina School of Government, or any other subject matter expert regarding the provision of fire and rescue services, how they're funded, and all of the factors involved with fire rescue and EMS, or attempting to start a fire and EMS department agency, whether it is even possible or feasible to do. Neither has he contacted the North Carolina Office of Emergency Medical Services, Carteret County Emergency Management, or EMS, or a subject matter expert in the emergency medical services field. Mr. Jones's statement, Western Carteret Fire and EMS Department covers Cedar Point, Cape Carteret, Pelletier, Stella Bogue, and portions of Swansboro and Maysville. Here is the fact. Western Carteret Fire and EMS does not cover portions of Swansboro. We do provide automatic aid and mutual aid to Swansboro and parts of Onslow County, in and around the general area of the town of Swansboro, in both fire and, under certain circumstances, EMS. We also provide mutual aid to Maysville and parts of Jones County between the end of our district and the town of Maysville. Now here's a point of clarification. Western Carteret does have small portions or sections of contracted fire district agreed to with Onslow County and Jones, set by the North Carolina Office of State Fire Marshal. This is fire district only. Onslow and Jones, these counties pay a fair and equitable price for this annually, and the call volume into either of these areas out of our county and our district is less than 25 calls per year. That is less than 1.2%. About 1% of that is to Onslow County, who pays over $10,000 a year for that. That is more than equitable for 1% of our call volume and for less than 20 calls a year. Mr. Jones's statement that Pelletier needs a well-balanced budget in order to provide the services our residents need, emergency services, and I'll stop right there because that's what concerns our agency, our department, and you, our citizen customers. Fact, as a participating member in the Interlocal Cooperation Agency, Pelletier has a high-performing professional fire and EMS department. Our reputation over the last 13 years of continuous improvement and excellent customer service and emergency services delivery is evidenced in the kind words expressed by hundreds of citizens over the last several years, as well as documentation regarding our service. Before I say a whole lot more, I want to clearly state that we are not a perfect department. That doesn't even exist anywhere, in any community. However, our personnel strive for perfection, but calls don't exist in a vacuum or a perfect world, and we deal with the hand that is dealt to us on every call. Our job is to make every effort to improve people's bad situations to the best of our ability. Number one, in EMS response since 2018, Western Carteret has been awarded by the American Heart Association the Mission Lifeline Silver Plus for EMS achievement 3 times, and Gold or Gold Plus twice, including 2023's award, Mission Lifeline EMS Gold with Target Heart Attack Honor Roll. Mission Lifeline EMS recognition is a program designed to showcase pre-hospital agencies nationwide for excellence in heart attack and stroke care. I will say, Carteret County has no other agency in the county that has that distinction. Our personnel have received several departmental awards for documented life-saving events over the last several years. Monthly and even weekly, our personnel actively save lives the victims or patients would tell you themselves, as so many of them do in their emails, cards, and notes to our department. In fire response, our department is timely and professional in their responses. Our personnel have removed, that is, rescued victims from the interior of active working residential structure fires and saved hundreds of thousands of dollars in property over the last 13 years, including right here in your own town. Most recently, August 6, 2023, at approximately 2 a.m., our department responded to a residential fire. This was a working fire with fire and smoke showing. Our crew arrived within 5 minutes. An excellent response time at 2 a.m. and 2.5 miles from the station to the scene. The fire was stopped immediately with minimal damage based on the normal potential for this type of incident. The county fire marshal noted that our response time and time to under control were textbook stopwatch time, and he congratulated the department and our automatic aid departments on a job well done. He agreed with me that these types of fires normally burn the roof off the residence and end up a near total loss. From the owner-occupant, it said in their Facebook post, "Thank you all so much for your help this morning. Your guys did such an amazing job. As bad as the situation could have been, it was great watching your professionalism. We are all blessed to be on your watch." Mr. Jones's statement, but we don't want to put strain on anyone's household budget. Fact, to have your own Pelletier Fire Department, new added costs, and the strain on the citizen's pocketbook or wallet would be absurd and unreasonable, especially in the present economic climate and the direction the economic climate is headed. For Pelletier to begin and then to operate a fire department, even a base volunteer fire department, would be a minimum of $2 million for land, a station that meets general statutes, 2 fire apparatus, radios, equipment, and a minimum of 15 active firefighters. Oh, and this is while the state of North Carolina is losing 600 volunteer firefighters per year over the last 3 years. The town's tax rate would be, as I stated earlier, absurd. A paid fire department would be even more expensive and place an even greater strain on the citizens financially. For a town the size of Pelletier, a paid department would truly be nearly impossible or totally unfeasible. The Office of State Fire Marshal and the Carteret County Commissioners would have to agree to redraw the Western Carteret district lines, and that just is not going to happen under these circumstances. Our own Pelletier EMS. Carteret County has already made very clear that there is no desire or interest whatsoever in increasing the number of agencies, communities, towns, or departments that operate within the county EMS system. Within the North Carolina general statutes, the establishment of the EMS function is solely the responsibility of county government, and the number of agencies, communities, towns, or departments that participate within the totality of a county EMS system is up to the particular county. It simply will not happen. Mr. Jones's statement, right now Pelletier has one of the lowest tax rates in Carteret County, equal to or less than South River, Sea Level, Otway, and Beaufort. Coincidentally, these towns have something we don't, fire and EMS department. Fact, most citizens would look at the first sentence and say, that's great, lowest tax rate in the county. But somehow it seems someone is saying, we're gonna raise your taxes. This is a good thing. And what for? Poems, prayers, and promises of what might be able to be done or we might need to do in the future, pie in the sky, a plan, hope, idea, or suggestion that is fanciful but is unrealistic and very unlikely to actually take place. Not to mention, it again will cost the citizens much, much more. South River, Sea Level, and Otway, mentioned by Mr. Jones's post, are not even towns. They are unincorporated communities in our county. For fire protection, they have a fire district and a fire service tax, just like you do here. Beaufort is a large incorporated town that happens to be the county seat and has an established fire district and fire service tax district, all just like Western Carteret does. within which falls Pelletier, between 1 3/4 miles and 5 miles from the fire station. Really, what exactly is being attempted to say here? Pelletier has an outstanding fire and EMS department, serving them and will continue to. Mr. Jones's statement, do you want these services or do you want to continue to depend on Cape Carteret? And he says, I'm listening. Fact, no one in the Western Carteret Fire and EMS District is depending on Cape Carteret or any other individual town. Western Carteret is an interlocal cooperation agency, not located in Cape Carteret, but physically located in a section of Cedar Point. Let's talk about the Interlocal Cooperation Agency for just 1 second. First, a cooperative is an enterprise, organization, or agency owned by and operated for the benefit of those using or needing its services. Put simply, a cooperative, or in our case, an interlocal cooperation agency, is a government service agency owned and controlled by the people that it serves. In our case, it is owned and operated by a team of 4 incorporated towns and county government as the directing and administrating body formed by legislative act and legal agreement. Each of the units has 2 sitting members for co-equal representation. Unlike other business organizations or local government agencies, a cooperative agency is not profit-driven. The purpose of a cooperative is to meet a common need amongst its members for the common protection and safety of the citizens, and to provide greater benefit to its members. Towns, county, citizen customers, that's you all, such as providing a high-level fire and rescue and EMS services, therefore enhancing the quality of life and the communities we protect. More and more across the United States, among local governments, municipalities have been encouraged for many services, including public safety, fire, rescue, EMS, even law enforcement, and enable the aggregation or combination of resources and efficiency to reduce local public spending by achieving what's called substantial economies of scale. For local government in public safety, economies of scale are cost advantages reaped by and combined resources, which is the goal of increasing efficiencies. In the operation of some local public services, such as public safety, public transport, and others, these spending inequities between the member agencies are cut way down. According to North Carolina School of Government, as well as many other state schools of government, interlocal cooperation is a key strategy for local governments to partner, cooperate, and do more with less. I could go on, and I'm not going to, because it would just add, but I will say this, and I'm going to close with this. The AARP, and we have a large, in this entire district, we have a large retired group here. The AARP, a leading advocate for the retired community and the elderly, had this to say about sorting fact from fiction, finding truth in an infodemic. And this is a quote: "In today's uncertain times, it has become increasingly difficult to know what's true. The growth of social media, smart devices, and a multitude of online sources offer 24/7 connectivity and unprecedented access to a rapidly expanding sea of information. But with that access comes the threat of those who seek to deceive or trick citizens, customers, anyone and everyone with misinformation, from false rumors and online hoaxes to invalid claims and downright lies. We're left wondering what to believe and who we can trust. The spread of misinformation is among the most pressing challenges of our time. When people use the term existential threats, this is one that tops the list." Finally, I will say this: infrastructure, how much? I'm just concerned about fire and EMS. How much does someone think they need? You have plenty, I will assure you. Our staffing is as good, if not better, than Emerald Isle, who also has 2 fire stations. We are covering this community and the total district very well, and we're covering it with more EMS units than are recommended. And if you want to know the truth, if Carteret County was to ever take over EMS, you would be left with one EMS unit in this district, because the national standard says that this county could be covered with less than 6 ambulances, and that is ludicrous. So I'm concluding my statement. I could go on, but I will not. I thank you for your time. If there are any questions, I would be glad to answer them right now.
No, I appreciate it, Chief. I know that hit a sore spot with you, so
Thank you.
anyhow, thank you. Yes, yes it was. All right, next was our financial report. Like I say, it'd be after the first of the year before we start really bringing in any money. As of right now, our general account, we have $213,453. Our PAL bill account has $16,391. And of course, we do have 2 CDs. One that was our 30,000 CD. It is now valued at $31,520 or $31,534. So the other one hadn't come up to date yet. But anyhow, any questions?
I'd like for us to show the 88RP funds on the ledger that we put out every month. I'd like for them to break that out.
What's that?
The American Rescue Act plan. I'd like for those numbers to be out there so we know what we got left.
Yeah.
And also the donation for the church. I'd like for that to be placed out separately too.
They're going to on the old one, right?
Just like we used to do.
Okay.
Okay. All right, we'll move on. Planning report.
Okay, the planning board recommended approval of the rezone R20 to B1 of 1277 Highway 58 and 102 Pettiford Road. They recommended approval of this rezone and signed a consistency statement. And here's the other ones that I had from last month.
Okay.
Those are the consistency statements from,
Oh, I'm sorry, the shed.
the shed and the pond sign
Pond
design
sign.
that was previously.
Okay, from the planning board.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
I'm sorry, what was it about the shed?
The planning board discussed an updated shed ordinance, which I turned into an update to the zoning ordinance, basically an amendment to the zoning ordinance. And that's just the consistency statement that's required by the planning board with their recommendation. Moving forward, anytime the planning board makes a recommendation, it's going to be provided to the commissioners as a written statement.
Okay, so we haven't adopted any new regulation on sheds, right?
No, sir.
Okay.
There'll be a hearing just tonight.
Okay.
If I could, I don't want to speak out there, but I just wanted to let the audience, or let everybody here know that we will not be able to meet the public notice deadline for the rezoning that was heard tonight, because we're having, the next meetings are coming up pretty fast. So instead of October, the public hearing for the rezoning that the planning board discussed tonight will be likely be in November. I don't want people to be coming here expecting it for the October meeting.
Right. Okay. Okay, so we'll move on. Commissioners report. Commissioner Quinn.
I don't have anything right now.
Okay. Commissioner Bragg.
I got a load. As you know, last year we had estimates sent to us from the folks that were mowing the ditches and whatnot that couldn't get to the ditches. We didn't do anything about it then. It wasn't quite as bad. Now it's getting pretty bad. Just in Pettiford Loop Road alone, I found 12 different sites. Problem is, 2 or 3 of them coordinate with Lieutenant Jensen on properties that aren't maintained. I'm not concerning my point with the properties, but mainly the ditch and the right of way where you have vision, where you can see signs driving around. As my previous road commissioner has taught me, keeping the ditches clean is what's going to ensure good water flow when a storm does come. Because when it does come, we won't have time to do it then. So a lot of these are overgrown where we can't even get into the ditch. The problem being, one of them is a lot that we own, or the town of Pelletier owns. Several of them are vacant lots, which I'm sure someone owns. And then several of them, the majority of them, are privately owned lots. My question to the board was, does this fall under an ordinance to where we should be telling these people they need to keep this native shrubbery out of the ditch or out of the right of way? Or is this something that we need to incur ourselves and get an additional estimate along with, cleaning up the other ones, which I would say we need more than one estimate for cleaning up of any estimates we get. So that being said, some of the biggest ones, of course, y'all know the corner of Lee and Pettiford Court, or Pettiford Loop, is a big corner lot, and everything's grown out over the ditch that you can't get to it. I have 12 just in there. One would be your neighbor right adjacent to you, which is minimal. We could go in there and just bush hog it. Hell, I'd bush hog it for free just to not look at it. But to move forward, how do we proceed? Is this an ordinance, or is this something we assume? But eventually it's something that's gonna need to be done, or else these people won't be able to see around the corner, or that ditch is not gonna flow.
Usually it's the town maintains from the roadside to the center of the ditch, and then
Right.
on the other side, the property owners maintain.
And this is exactly what it is. Our crews and whoever we may contract next year, eventually that maintenance contract is gonna tell you, I can't mow the grass because of the vegetation on the other side of the ditch.
Yeah.
The plants aren't in the ditch, they're on the property drooping over. This would be, and a lot of these are small things that could be done, by a small landscape crew that would keep it looking nice. Others are so big, you would need a sickle bar type mower to come in and just wreck a whole area. Mainly, like I said, corner of Lee Court and Pettiford Court. And some of them are right, like between 403 and 405, or right on the property line, and there's also a culvert, going underneath the road. These are things that we need to protect, but is it our responsibility? Is it theirs? Everything is across the ditch.
It should be their responsibility. Like I say, we've always maintained to the center of the ditch,
Okay,
and from the roadside, and then the property owners maintain on the other side.
would you like me to group this list with Mr. Jensen?
I think we need to get with
Lieutenant Jensen?
Mr. Jensen and probably the attorney and make sure we're heading in the right direction.
Okay,
Where does the public safety or whatever, if it's got to start somewhere along here, then we just stop at the bottom of the ditch. But if something on the other side of the ditch is causing harm to everybody else, well, it seems something, we need to be able to do something about that.
Yeah, and I think we can.
There's a few little nitpicky things that we could, scoot by and dress up as far as signs and corners. The main thing is being able to get a mower down into the ditch and being able for people that drive by and inspect the ditches to be able to literally put eyes on it to know that there's nothing in the way, water's gonna flow, we're doing our job. The other problem is at the corner of Deaton Drive and Pettiford Road, 107, is that correct? Where the culvert goes across the road, it is disconnected and cracked and leaning down on the Deaton side. So that water is not exiting that property correctly. It needs to be readdressed, and it'll actually lift it up, which would actually raise the water exit route because it's gonna need to be tilted up. There was also complaint about erosion on the opposite side of the ditch. The problem there is that a good amount of concrete was put into there, and it's also been treated with an herbicide on top. So whenever you have water rushing off of a natural soil and then hits concrete, of course it's going to erode around it. The town of Pelletier, of course, did not put the concrete there, so therefore I don't think it's our responsibility to clean it up.
You guys didn't put it there, but someone put it there in 1983, 1984 timeframe. My dad at the time was 70 some odd years old. He didn't pour concrete. So it was, somebody decided they were going to try this. From what I was told, it was an experiment to see if it would work. And right now it's just.
It did not work.
It did not work.
Right.
And as far as
I'm not
the
sure
other
about.
side,
I'm
the other
not.
side is
It
only
wasn't us.
3 inches off the concrete. This has been going on, I'm gonna go, we came in 2015. This is ongoing at least 10 to 12 years before that.
The ditches look the same since I've been here, and
Right, and it's just,
right.
and because of that pipe is broken, it doesn't flow across Pettiford.
When that pipe is
So
fixed,
that
it's going to raise
there's
the
your
elevation
erosion problem.
because that
There's
pipe
that
is
drain.
tilted
All right,
down.
sir, please.
Is this Bedford Point?
Yeah, Pettiford's Road.
Don't you have a homeowners association? I was
No.
asking.
All right, let's, was that it for you, Dave? Do you have anything else?
Yeah, I feel for you, sir. But yeah, the town doesn't have the money nor the authority to cross that line
I
to
can fix
to
it
fix
any way I
something.
want, correct?
Sir?
That I don't know.
If you're telling me you have no authority,
All right,
Then I
now,
can fix it my
sir,
way, correct?
sir, please.
and until you fix it.
Sir, one more time and you're gonna leave. All right,
Yeah, that's all.
okay, Mr. Mason.
I'm good.
Mr. Quinn.
I'm good tonight.
What?
I'll take it with them.
All right. All right, then it's mayor's report. I do want to mention there will be an open house at the fire department. That is October the 28th. I think it's from 12 to 1. There will be chicken, barbecue. There'll be bounce houses for kids. Sparky will be there, and a bunch of other stuff for kids to do. This is put on by the firemen and the EMS personnel, and West Carter Fire and EMS Association, which is the nonprofit board. We're going to supply them up to $3,400 to help get this stuff they would want. there'd be face painting for kids and balloons, and
The 28th.
the 28th, October the 28th,
What's the time frame?
12 to 4. And so anyhow, there'll be food for everybody until the food runs out anyhow.
Last year, we had over 300 people.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a big success last year. We had a good time. All right, next thing I just wanted to make sure everybody's aware of, on August the 22nd, Commissioner Quinn had made a public request, wanting all the receipts and amounts that was paid to me or my company, DKS Construction. I think B has got it ready for him. So anyhow, I know, I just wanted to make sure everybody knew $35,736 was approved by this board to fix the old church. That was the money for it. And then March the 2nd, 2015, this building needed some work done to it on the outside. The town put an ad out and took 3 bids and the commissioners chose me to do it. So another $17,800 of that money was for the work I did on the outside of this building, which is a new roof, which that new roof was put on in 2015. So saying our shingles were bad is not true. Our shingles are 30-year shingles, so the roof is in fine shape. The problem with soft spots on this roof, it is a truss roof with 1/2-inch plywood. You step in between the plywood, it's gonna give. So, you know, that's just part of the way the building's made. So, anyhow, I guess this is just another thing I have to go through. You know, I have nothing to hide. Would like to put a copy of what B has on that board back there. So if anybody wants to see it, you're more than welcome to it. Because, like I say, I have nothing to hide. The only time I've done anything for this town is when the commissioners have asked me to do so. So, anyhow, and of course, our finances are, does Lee get it every quarter?
Yeah.
Lee,
except that-
so our accountant gets it at least every quarter, and then we're audited every year by the state. And of course, someone called in this past year saying there was something funny going on with our money. So there was a state audit, and anyhow, they found nothing, which, you know, you can't. But anyhow, Mr. Quinn wants to go through this again. So I just hope everybody has an open mind.
I didn't
So
say-
anyhow, I got the floor. I didn't mean again, excuse me. Put me through this again. So anyhow, I just hope everybody keeps an open mind.
Anybody put on there how much that you spent will come out of your pocket for the town?
No. No, they,
How much is that gonna cost you to be mayor of this town?
They saw fit to put a
Yeah.
$1,900 bookcase in there though.
well, if you look at that, when you get,
$1,900
when
for a
you,
bookcase.
when you look at the invoice, sir, you'll also see that was doing some painting on the wall. The bookcase, yes, if you want something, that was kind of custom made, so, and made for
That's a lot.
certain things. Well, anyhow, we should move on. New business. We have the renewal of Lee Carroll as our town accountant. see if I can get to the back page. I think everything is basically the same. His fees. Did he have a set amount, big?
No, this is the same as last year's. The year before that. All his fees are on the list.
Yeah. I think his rate's what, $45 to $60 per hour for his support. So 200 for him. I think everything is just about the same. I mean, he helps us a lot. He does, he checks our books every month or every quarter. And then, of course, all of that's got to go through the state audit and everything else. So anyhow, would y'all want to see this, or would y'all like to approve keeping Lee Carroll as their accountant?
I'll make a motion to keep Lee Carroll.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. So we'll sign that. All right, we have, next is following items for public hearing. We have a rezone, Pondside CT Williams Corporation, 1428 Highway 58, Lot 20, Pelletier, rezone from B1 to MC for purpose. The rezone is from mobile home park to RV park. So this is going to a public hearing, right? Does the commissioners have anything to question or anything to say before we go into public hearing?
I have a question.
Yes.
Number 2, it says modernize, which I assume is modernize the park and transition from single wide homes to park models. Does that mean you will double the amount of occupants because of a single wide is a 2-bedroom septic tank and a park model is a single?
I don't know what the ratios will be, that we're gonna depend on the health department to tell us how many park models we can put in and how many, if we have, that's.
Well, I assume you've done your research and you know this to be
We haven't done
an
it.
option.
It's an option, but we haven't done any research on that till we get through with the zoning.
Yeah, so right now, if I had him rezoning, he's basically taking a chance that he can get this rezone done, and then the health department will not allow him all that he wants to do there.
Gotcha.
But see, you don't want to go through the expense of everything unless you can get the zoning to pass. Yeah.
I asked that just because I'm a big proponent of, bigger business along the 58 corridor.
Yes, sir.
But that was the one thing that stuck out with me was, number 2, why is it necessary?
One of the biggest reasons to rezone it is it's a non-conforming zone now. It's a B1, I believe, and
Right.
We're trying to get it into a conforming zone.
I understand that.
This is probably, thank you.
Yeah.
This probably been asked before, and I think we brought up. But how many units is in your park right now?
38,
38. And that's all single wide mobile homes.
yes, sir. Yeah, and one double wide is.
Yeah, I know that, yeah. But, and your intentions are, if I understand it, you're going to demo the old houses up front, right?
We're taking them out as people move out. We're not gonna force anybody
The house
to
up
move.
front, the brick house.
The brick house up front will be, that's the plan, is to demo that. We've had 3 or 4 or 5 already that people have, once we started cleaning up, people abandoned, and we've taken those out, and that's where we're gonna start. And we'll start in the front, and as they age out and people leave, then that's how we want to do it. We don't want to just up and all of a sudden force people
That's
to leave.
that was my next question. The people that you have living in there now, you're not gonna be giving them 30 days
No.
to get out and
No,
then
no, no.
that kind of stuff. I know you're saying.
As long as everybody pays their rent on time and everything goes like that, they can stay.
Yeah, I'm a proponent of everybody doing what, you know, I think it's your property, but. I'm
No, I
also-
understand.
Also concerned about the people that live there too.
Yes, sir.
Colton, do you have anything you would like to add before we put open this up to public hearing?
I'll give my, thank you. I want to say just a few things before. The planning board has provided a written recommendation to the board of commissioners. I, as staff, recommend approval, and I, as staff, also recommend approval of that consistency statement and a statement of reasonableness that reflects the planning board's written statement that was just provided. And again, the applicant is not bound by what they are proposing in the application. So just keep in mind that we can't set conditions or anything with this rezoning. That's all I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, do I hear a motion that we go into public hearing?
Second.
I have a motion and a second to go in public hearing. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, we're in public hearing. One at a time, someone can speak at the podium. Need your name and address. And this is dealing with the Pondside Trailer Park. Do not get off subject.
Only that.
Only that. Yes, sir. Name and your address, please. You can just say it. We don't need proof.
Jonathan Sanford, I live at lot 13, Pondside, Mobile, Trailer Park, 1428, sir.
What's your name?
Jonathan Sanford. See, so I appreciate, telling these guys that you ain't gonna kick us out and whatnot. I spent a lot of time there. My grandma's lived there for a long time. And, rising rates and stuff, trying to get out, and I'm a single income family with 2 children and a wife. I just don't think it'd be easy for me to get moved out of my home and find a new place. And I just want you to, if you're gonna do that, be a man of your word and stick to it, and just don't put us out and say one thing and do another. Pretty much all I got to say.
Thanks, sir. Mr. Bright?
You gonna get 3 more minutes? No, I just want to thank y'all for doing such a good job on what you're doing. And you're talking about the Pelletier Missionary Baptist Church Center.
No. Please state Pondside.
Right, this is just one, and then I'm leaving. I gotta go to work. No. But Preacher Thompson says he's real pleased with the work you've done.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Rick.
Everything's really good. Thank you.
All right, once again, please stay on subject. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
Mike Hemingway, 697 Roberts Road. We own the property directly behind you. It has the trees and stuff. I'm all for whatever you do to update it. But I know you got some power lines that run back to our house back there. If they interfere with your lot or anything, let us know. We can get your power off the Pelletier Road. Same with cable. If you're putting on the ground power and everything, we'll do something like that. The only thing I'd like to do is, if we could, if you decide to put a fence down through there. The reason why I've got people throwing stuff on my land, letting chicken, wildlife run over there, and I just have to kind of keep, got kids out there too, making forts and stuff. So for the hazards and a couple other things they had, it's just so we can put a buffer line right there, that ditch line, clean it up. That ain't nothing to do, just a backup one day, I'm willing to help you. I'd like to see you grow and do good, just on a trailer park in Newport, on, what, 3 houses, 4 houses? So we're willing to work with you any way we can. And maybe one day we'll show you that chunk of land back there you put
Where's your
tent
property?
camping.
Where's your property back there?
Right behind it, right behind it, right on Pelletier.
It's on Camp Pelletier Road.
Actually, I'll tell you what it is, it's the old fish houses, they took off, Swamp.
I know exactly.
They moved, when they built a bridge over there, they moved it over
I
there.
know exactly.
That's the only thing I got to say, I'm glad that if you're gonna update it, I mean, I have a trailer park, and I update my stuff to keep it clean. Hemingway, H-E-N-E-N-W-Y. So, I've asked before, one time before, put tent camping back there, and this has been many years ago, but I left it alone, it's been on record, and I got, but I'm willing to work with anybody, so on that.
Thank you, sir. Is there anybody else? Yes. Sure.
I'm Wendy Smith, lot 17, Top High. I just would love to stay in my home since we all bought our homes there. We would like to stay in our homes. Me personally, I don't have a vehicle, so I work right next door. I can get back to work. If I'm forced to move, then I lose everything because I can't move my home I bought for. I've already paid for. I can't move it with me. I have no way to move. And I just want to be safe. The reason we bought homes was so we couldn't be evicted, we couldn't be thrown out. And I have worried and worried and worried so much, I just can't take it anymore. I need to know that our homes are gonna be safe, that we're not gonna be able to have to move. We can't afford each. We're your neighbors, we put in money into this neighborhood. We shop here, we eat here, we work here. And we wanna continue to live here. That's our homes, we're asking, please don't take our homes.
Thank you, Wendy.
Am I allowed to respond to that, or?
No. Anybody else? All right, one second. All right, do I hear a motion to go out, public hearing?
Did you want to speak? Did you want?
He can speak outside of public hearing.
Oh, okay. That's all right.
All
Make a
right,
motion.
Second.
have a motion and a second to go out, public hearing. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? All right, well, public hearing. Now, does the commissioners have anything they would like to ask Mr. Williams?
I think we already did.
All right, Mr. Williams, is there a statement you'd like to make to this board?
No, I just say what I've already said, and I stick by what I said, and I appreciate y'all, indulging me, and I look forward to making that place look even better and continue to improve it, and I'm hoping that we can get a positive outcome tonight.
Okay. All right, so y'all have heard from the citizens and from Mr. Williams. Does anybody like to make a motion, or is there any more discussions?
I'd like for you to explain one more time about changing the zoning. That does not mean that we can dictate what you can do with it, other than what's in that zoning. And then we can't put in there like, make him say you can't kick people out.
Unfortunately, we cannot do that with conventional rezoning.
Right.
If it was a conditional rezoning, conditions can be added. I don't know if that would necessarily be one of them. But with a conventional rezoning, which is what this is, that would not be appropriate.
Yeah, I don't hear that, would you?
It's almost illegal.
That's what I'm saying, I want to make sure that everybody understands.
Carlton, if it gets zoned to park models only, the mobile homes can still stay legally that are in there?
With MC, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm kind of like Walter. I just don't want to see these people get kicked to the curb,
Well,
We can't
But we ain't got no say over that, yeah.
But, and this would just be one step. If the rezone is passed, once he has, all his health permits, plot plans and all.
Right.
I believe it's gotta come right back to the town to be approved, correct?
Okay.
So this will not be like this final say of what goes on there, so.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
I'll second.
All right, I have a motion and a second to approve the rezone. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
All right. So the rezone is approved. All right, is this, shed ordinance, is that for a rezone too?
Mayor,
Or
yes, sir.
a public hearing?
We will need a public hearing, but before that, we will need a consistency statement and a statement of reasonableness from this board. As I previously stated, I recommend this board approving a consistency statement and statement of reasonableness that reflects what the planning board provided. So I believe if you just want to reference what the planning board provided, that would be sufficient, but you need to approve those statements. And just the, we'll just do one at a time. The smaller one is a shed ordinance, so we'll just save that for after the second public hearing.
All right. The proposed amendment is consistent with the Carteret County CAMA and land use plan adopted December 10th, 2021. The potential land use are appropriate for the limited transition area on the future land use map. This purpose map amend is responsible and in the public interest because it is consistent with the Carteret County CAMA land use, and the proposed amendment could be provide more residential options within the community. The planning board recommends approval of this amendment.
Yes.
Okay. And that's for this rezone, or is this?
Yeah, it's for this rezoning.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I believe the board needs to vote on that.
On this right here.
Yes.
Make a motion?
Make a motion.
There, I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, that's, all right, now, are we working on the shed
Yes,
next?
sir. Now, yeah, we're good to go on that.
Right, now, is that a public hearing?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So our next public hearing is rewording, shed ordinance for residential R35, R20, R15, R15M, and R10. So anyhow, what this is, we've been having sheds thrown up just about anywheres with no tie downs and you know, really nothing in our ordinance stating what could go up there. So anyhow, I believe this is to take care of that.
Yes, sir.
All right, you got anything you'd like to add?
Yes, the planning board provided their written recommendation. Staff recommends approval. I recommend approval as an addition to the zoning ordinance. I spoke to Sue at the end of the last planning board meeting and stated, told her that this would be more appropriate as an addition to the zoning ordinance instead of being a standalone ordinance, because what it covers is entirely zoning related. So I basically took the text of what was approved, and I simply converted it to an addition to the special requirements for certain uses, chapter or article or section within the zoning ordinance. I added a few section headings, and I took out a few portions of it which I considered redundant, like enforcement of penalties, severability, since that's already covered by the zoning ordinance, but I did not add anything that would be substantial. I did not add any content that would be considered substantial. So this is basically the equivalent of what was approved by the planning board as a standalone ordinance in the previous meeting, but in the form of an addition to the zoning ordinance. And I recommend approval of a consistency statement that recommends, that reflects the planning board's written recommendation. And I believe we can just state that, you can state that with the, when you go on to make the final decision, you can just say our statements reflect what the planning board has approved. And I'd also, and thank you for reminding me about this, but I'd like to have this added to the meeting minutes. It's the notice requirements, a copy of the letter that was sent to the adjacent landowners for the pond-side rezoning, including rezoning request certification, the certification that was mailed, that's specifically for pond-side, the sign, the posted notice, posted on the site. Sorry I didn't go over this before the last time, but I decided we could cover both on the site. The published notice, which covers the pond-side rezoning, this shed amendment, and the amendment to the flood damage prevention and protection ordinance. And I also have a copy of the letter I sent to the commanding officer, Sherry Point, about the proposed rezoning and the proposed text amendment to the zoning ordinance, and they did not find any issues with that. So I just wanted to let you know that the notice requirements for the on-site rezoning, this shed amendment, and the shed amendment were on that. And the also the floodplain ordinance. So that's all I have.
Okay.
This shed, that's including all these pre-built sheds and stuff that they bring in.
Yes, don't need to be tied down. All right, do I hear a motion to go into public hearing?
Motion to go into public hearing.
All right, got a motion, need a second.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so we're in public hearing and rewording the shed ordinance. The reason for this ordinance is there's been sheds been put up throughout the town with really no oversight. I mean, now the inspections office, the building inspector said the only time they inspect or require a building permit for a shed if there's one wall that's over 12 foot long. That's the only time they would, require it. Unless we have something in our ordinance. So if this ordinance is passed, it will be taken to the building inspector's office, and I would show them so that they will know, sheds are going to need permits. So, does anybody in the public have anything they'd like to say?
All right, question. Oh, sorry, you go first.
I would just like to thank the chief because
Alice, we got to stay with the,
I'm sure that everybody else appreciates it. But
Alice,
you went out of your way to do that, and I just appreciate it.
all right, let's stay on subject here with the shed ordinance.
Is it retroactive or is it, are the old ones grandfathered?
I don't think we can do it retroactive.
We can't go back and, if it's on the ground now, it's good to go, basically.
It'd basically be a pre-existing non-conformity. So if they move it, they want to move the shed elsewhere on the property,
They'd have to get
they
it
would
back.
have to abide by.
Right, but where it sits right now, where it's put up is where it's gonna stay and it's good to go. Can't go back and do anything. Okay.
Carl,
Yes,
All
sir.
right.
how about the fact that it needs to be anchored? That's a safety and a flood hazard.
That's good. Let me say that.
Because we have one of those right now, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an issue of public safety. You can reword the amendment to require that it meet compliance. You also do it like a sunset provision. I think the courts have typically upheld those sorts of amendments. But I think as the amendment's worded right now, there wouldn't be any way to enforce against pre-existing grandfather sheds.
I make a motion that we.
wait a minute, we can't, we're in public hearing.
All right, go ahead.
Anybody else in the public? All right,
What
Derek,
zones does this affect?
excuse me,
The zoning that this affects?
of what zoning? R35, R20, R15, R15M, and R10. Okay, if there's nothing else, do I hear a motion to go out of public hearing?
So move.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we're out of public hearing. All right, now,
We can continue this to the next meeting, and if the board would like to have language added, as long as it's not substantial change. Would you deem some sunset provision to be a substantial?
Okay, I think changing the potential violations and who's affected is, I feel like that's a substantial change.
Okay, about that? Go ahead.
What I'm saying is, if there's a substantial change, it would need to go back down to planning to be reconsidered and have a new statement issue. In my opinion, I think that, changing who could be potentially affected and have fines levied, penalties levied against them would be a substantial change.
So do we need a motion to send it back?
We'll just do nothing and send it back.
Yeah, basically just do nothing with that.
But can we give the reason why we want to send it back?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay, I would like to see a provision in there that a sunset clause exists for anything that becomes a public safety or a flood hazard, so therefore it should be anchored. That's all I have.
Is that a good statement, or is that too broad, or is it there now?
No, I think that's good. I want to talk with them about what, the specifics on that. And in this case, I'm wondering if we did it as the original standalone ordinance, or standalone ordinance, if it would be okay. Because if it's a standalone ordinance, references the zoning ordinance, even though it overlaps with the zoning ordinance, do you think that would be allowed? And because there's already, there's not a sunset clause, but we can enforce it differently if it was standalone. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, potentially if it was standalone, you could do, because you can enforce it under the regular rules of the code of ordinances. I would need to research it. I would need to look into, I guess, what the recommended course of action under case law is. Let's defer to Mr. Sept.
so do we need to make a motion for this to be sent back to the planning board to be,
If we can adopt the adopt the standalone ordinance that was previously recommended by the planning board, then we wouldn't need to send it back. We can just do continuance. And then we can discuss this, and then the board can reconsider it at the next meeting.
Okay, so,
Want to just table it for 30 days? Or until the next meeting?
Yes, I'd just say, be continue it or have a continuance.
all right, so
Just consider.
now would this be ready in 2 weeks? Or continue, or table it until November's meeting?
We can continue it, and if it's not ready in the next meeting, it can be continued again until whatever it is ready. As long as it's not too far off. If we
Okay.
don't make too many changes, we won't need to do additional notice.
All right. So I need to go on and read this, if they, are y'all, do I hear a motion, to go ahead and approve, the shed ordinance with, or, no, we're
Yeah,
tabling.
we'll just table.
Do I hear a motion to table the shed ordinance?
Make a
Motion.
motion, we table.
Second.
All right, have a motion and a second to table it till next meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I have
Okay.
a question. Okay, so the comment about the sunset clause, that's voided out until next month as well?
Yeah, they'll take care of that.
It's on hold.
Okay.
All right, next is, a public hearing for the flood ordinance update. Is it ready for the public hearing?
Yes, sir. There is no planning board written recommendation required for this, no consistency statement required. Public hearing, of course, is required. The flood ordinance update was included in the published notice that I showed earlier. Basically, these updates were brought to us, brought to our attention by Greg Hartman. He's the floodplain administrator for Carteret County. He made some recommended edits. And then I spoke with the NFIP Eastern Branch planner with North Carolina Department of Public Safety. NFIP means National Flood Insurance Program, which is administered by FEMA. Pelletier is a participant in that program, and we have to have an up-to-date floodplain ordinance in order to participate in the National Flood Program. So these are basically just changes that are required to maintain state and federal compliance. Nothing major, but it's basically just to clean things up and keep the things up to date. Yeah, that's all I have.
Okay. All right,
You gotta have a public hearing.
Yes.
yes. Do I hear a motion to go in public hearing for the flood ordinance?
I do. Second, I part late. Next, I can't make it in second.
Second.
I have a motion and a second, to go to public hearing. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we're in public hearing. This is, just an update on the flood ordinance. Does anybody have anything they would like to ask the planner about?
What does the flood ordinance pertain of? I haven't read it or seen it.
Let me pull it up.
It's just so that so people can get flood insurance legally.
Yes. It'll help with FEMA.
FEMA's broke. FEMA's broke, all our money's went to Ukraine.
You got it, Cole?
Yeah, so, basically, yeah, the purpose of this ordinance is to protect against and to prevent loss from flood. And it's simply, the reason why town has it, pretty much any community has it, is that it helps, among other things, aside from helping to prevent flood damage along flooding, it allows the town to participate or be part of the National Flood Insurance Program, which is good for everybody. But yeah, that's the main point of it. And I'm trying to look through here to see, because it's been a while since I actually did or went through the updates. I did not go through and actually make the updates myself. I did in a sense, but these basically the county and the state said, just highlighted, sent me a Word document and highlighted it and said, these dates need to be updated and this needs to be updated. There's no major changes to the substance of the ordinance, so there's no
Just mainly
restrictions.
dates.
Yeah, it's basically just keeping things up to date, and I'm having trouble finding anything. Oh, I changed something.
It's something we need to do.
Yeah, it's basically just something that needs to be done.
Is there somewhere we can view that document with its highlighted updates?
Yes. Yes.
Can you somehow, what do? Can you just tell me that now or publish that somewhere on the?
Yes, and before at the time the first newspaper notice was published for these hearings tonight, those changes, that document showing those changes were available here at Town Hall, but I'd be happy to email you the document afterwards, or we can email it to you.
Okay. All right, is there any more questions on it? All right, do I hear a motion to go out public hearing?
Second.
I have a motion and a second to go out public hearing. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, does the board like to make any, take any action?
Make a motion to accept it.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, next is public comments.
No.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we had a little conference back there. First, thank you for bringing that up about the pipe. With regards underneath the road, where it goes in, the water goes in, and goes out underneath, goes out. I really would like you guys to look into it. It's on your side of the property. It goes into the White Oak. We'll take care of our side. So we'll take care of the problem with the cement and all that other stuff. As long as you get that pipe fixed, then we'll take care of our part. And I think that's only fair, because we've brought this up so many times. Mr. Norris, you know, you've come over, you've seen it way before when we moved in. Our ditches are really bad in Pettiford and Deaton. They're not low enough, and this other thing with the pipe, that's kind of scary. If the water's not flowing out of it and then starts rising.
Ma'am, what's your address again?
107 Deaton Drive. We're right on the corner. And like I said, the ditches,
It's
you
a
come
nice
out.
place.
Thank you. Come out
It's a nice
to
place.
see the ditches, and the guys only did a little square with the driveways and all the
When
other.
they cleaned out the culverts under the driveways,
They just did
they
a
dug a
little,
little ditch, which is now a mosquito heaven.
so it doesn't
It
flow.
doesn't flow at all. And this is on the Deaton side. And Commissioner Bragg saw that. If you get down, it looks like camel humps.
That's where the concrete is?
No, that's
This
not-
is on the Deaton side.
Deaton
Oh,
side.
yeah, I got you.
Pettiford's on the
It's on
top.
Pettiford.
Yeah, I know.
Where the broken pipe is, that's what drains. So until that pipe's fixed, there's no sense me fixing my side, because it's still gonna rise, and then it just sits there. So until that pipe's fixed, so we can have the water evacuate where it's supposed to go. It's useless as,
Yeah.
I know,
Yeah.
my New York comes out every once in a while.
But like I said, if you guys can look at Pettiford, I mean, you look at 5 April's, their ditches are pretty good, they're pretty clean, they're pretty deep. Our ditches are like that. So if you guys can really come around, take a look, it's not just our property, it's others. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Mr. Norris?
I'm Bill Norris. I live at 423 Norris Landing Road, and I'd like to bring up the discussion about the ditches in our community. One thing we're overlooking is what we are doing to our river. When we start moving this water, with this development that's been going on in this community, we are now adding tremendous amounts of polluted water to our shellfish areas and our fishery areas, the White Oak, Starkey Creek, everything in the 5 April's areas, and around that area drains into Starkey Creek. And not one thing have I seen that says we're gonna take new technology to start holding and cleaning that water before it gets discharged. And I know it is horrible for somebody to see that their yard is flooded. But we have to think of other things when we look at this and say, well, we need to be very active in how we treat this water. Now, we live in this coastal area, and standing water has been here for eons, and it's not going to go away. It's the soil types that we live in, and it's how we build our houses. We do not build in an environmentally friendly way anymore. When the community that was built behind where we live, we had 15 discharges, 15 sediment discharges with plumes that were over a mile long. We called the state. The state came and looked at it, and the answer I got from the people who were protecting our water and our natural resources told me, he said, well, there's not a thing I can do about it. And the reason I can't do anything about it is because we approved the plan. And we're scared that the developer can come and sue us. And I politely asked the gentleman who came from Raleigh and asked him, as big as Raleigh is there not one lawyer up there that will defend the state in protecting our natural resources? Just one lawyer. That's all I asked it for. So now when we see your problems, and we did all the work on the ditches, cleaning the culverts to prevent your families from being flooded out, we have got to step up our technology now and look for better ways to handle this stormwater. Dumping it out and forgetting about it doesn't exist anymore. Our creeks, our rivers, our streams are so inundated now, they've lost their capacity. We've got all the sediment in there, everything that flows off this land. Where we had deep water before, we have nothing. And people wonder why we're flooding. Think about it. You have no capacity anymore. So we need to start looking when we start developing our area and say, is there some way that we can do this environmentally friendly? I'm sure there's grants and money out there that we could try to grab to help protect and save our rivers. Most of the people from Raleigh, when they come down here, or Charlotte or wherever, why do they come down here? They come for the fishing, they come for the beaches. I grew up here, and for the first time in history, I've seen our beaches had to be closed because of stormwater. Can't get our oysters out because of stormwater. The pollution is getting so bad, you can't even swim in it at times. The bacteria levels that reached this summer were astronomical. You go out in the river, you get a cut, you're probably going to get some serious injuries from this. It's time that we started looking at ways to improve how we can keep our community safe from all this stuff and start controlling some of this stormwater. we need to look at innovative ways to help prevent some of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
All right, anybody else? We'll take one more person. Don?
Okay, this is short. I'd like to thank Eddie Neal for caring about our children and allowing me to use his property several weeks ago for a bike safety event to give away free helmets to kids. I'd also like to thank Lieutenant Jensen and the town officials who were there who came out to support this event. And Chief Hunter, where are you? Your tent was a lifesaver. With that hot sun, and with the heat and the sun, and can I use it again?
Yes.
Okay, 'cause I'll need it like Friday or Saturday.
Short notice.
Yeah, sorry. Oh, and I need someone to help me put it up. Because my husband's out of town, and I could not have done this event without everyone's support. So, Ronald, I think you're going to be at the next ones. I could use all your support. We'll be hosting another free helmet giveaway right here at Town Hall this week, Friday from 5 to 6. And Saturday morning from about 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. I'll be here earlier, I'll stay as long if there's kids, whatever.
What time is Friday?
Friday from 5 to 6. That's because Saturday, a lot of the kids are in event, a lot of parents, some people contact me and they're bowling, the bowling league started. So I'm gonna try to be here a little longer during Friday. I need to thank Commissioner Jimmy Barrington. This was a surprise. He reached out to me and he went above and beyond. How to put this. Due to the controversy of me using the restrooms here at Town Hall, he arranged for delivery and is personally covering the cost of a porta potty for this event. So therefore, so there's no misunderstanding during this event this week when I give away free helmets. And anyway, I will not be using our Town Hall's restroom. So, thank you.
You're gonna have the tent Friday or Saturday?
I don't really need it Friday, but I would really use it Saturday.
You might really need it Saturday.
Is it gonna rain? That's okay, I'll still use it.
There's a possible tropical depression coming across
no.
this Saturday.
That doesn't do.
All right, we're gonna move on. Old business, we have none at this time. Other business, none at this time. Commissioners' comments. Any commissioner want to make a comment?
Yeah, I want to make a comment. I did not request an audit of Pelletier through the state, just so that everybody knows that. Second of all, I did request this about the stuff from, that was paid to the mayor. And my reason was, I didn't want to talk perceptions. I wanted to talk facts. Which most of it's already come out. However, the church repairs, the mayor said that he was gonna bring everything before us before he made a draw. He never did that. Then the other thing is, there's people in this room saying that I'm gonna raise taxes by 3 times. That is not a fact. The fact is, I requested a 5-cent raise, which would double our taxes, not 3 times. And my reason for that was definitely not for a fire station, Chief Hunter. It was to provide police service. And I think we can do that safely with that amount of money. And it is a better service for the community than trash service. Trash service is a losing proposition because the contractor can raise the price every year. And that's all I have to say.
David?
No, I think I'm good.
So?
It's been a long night.
I'm all right.
I'm gonna let it go. I'm ready to go home.
Me too. Our next meeting is Monday, October the 2nd at 6:30. Do I hear a motion
So
to
moved.
adjourn? There's a second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.